Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBear's Casino. TK Tommy Christ in on this Friday edition over at Tremonti's Meat Seafood in Baton Rouge. I am in an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. And of always, LeBear's is a title sponsor, LeBear's Casino, where there will be no better place to eat, drink, be merry, bet on games, watch the Super Bowl than at the sports book at LeBear's Baton Rouge. Go there, hang out, have a great time. Unless you got a Super Bowl party going on, you're looking for a place to where do I go? What do I do? You want to have a lot of fun, go to LeBear's to watch the Super Bowl. It is going to be awesome. All right, TK. So this week, LSU men's and women's basketball are the topic. The women had a big win on the road against Vanderbilt, a decent team last night. They win easily. LSU got bombed at Tennessee. That's kind of about what I expected. I think they're a 12.5-point favorite. They lost by 20-something. And then now they're going to have a tough one at home against Alabama, a team that blew them out the first time they played. So they're in a tough stretch right now. We knew that for LSU basketball. The rest of the world of the sports is kind of looking towards Sunday, looking towards that Super Bowl, looking towards the Usher halftime show, the Reba McEntire pregame with the national anthem. People over here, I am in Scottsdale, Arizona at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Been here all week. Tell you about that here in a minute. But it's the land of Brock Purdy. He grew up here. He went to high school in the Phoenix area, so he's good. There's been a lot of local news coverage about him. People over here pulling. If you don't have a real true interest in who wins, you're pulling for Brock Purdy. If you're in the Phoenix area, they've been talking about him all week. But I just have a hard time, Tommy. We've been saying it over and over. I have a hard time going against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs with their experience, and which is so important in a game like this. I want to get your thoughts in a minute. Also, before I forget, 0 for 3. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame went 0 for 3 on the Pro Football Hall of Fame voting yesterday. They had Jari Evans, Reggie Wayne, and one other was on the ballot. I'm drawing a blank on who the third was, but none of them got in. Obviously in 26. 26, I think. Drew Brees will be going in. Question is will Jari Evans or Reggie Wayne or whatever could be going in with him? But I thought maybe Jari had a chance to get in this time around, but not yet. They'll have to wait.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Evans, I would think he should be in. I mean, his numbers speak for themselves, the consistency. And so we'll see what happens there. But they announced a big class the other night for the next year's Hall of Fame. Not a lot of Louisiana flavor in it, but a couple of guys not so sure about getting in there. But, that is what it is.
Dwight Freeney is going in, the outstanding pass rusher who played against the Saints in the Super Bowl. He's one of the guys that are going in there. Devin Hester, who, when you're a specialty guy, when you're a kick returner, it's very hard to get in, very unlikely to get in. But Devin Hester, who I think we all agree probably the greatest punt and kick returner of all time, has more touchdowns than any other human being who's done that. He is going into the Hall of Fame, and a lot of discussion last year about whether he'd get in, and he finally did. So he's one of my favorite players. Electric guy.
Hey, definitely electric. He kind of took, Brian Mitchell, the former Raging Cajun, right, was known as a returner. Hester took it to the next level, and clearly think he should be in the Hall of Fame because he was the guy that, everybody, when he dropped back to return a kick or a punt, you were expecting something special.
Speaking of Brian Mitchell, he's been very successful over on the East Coast in the Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. area on television and radio, very active. The former Plaquemine Green Devil, who, of course, was a quarterback at UL in the late 80s and set all kind of records for running and throwing over there, and then had a great career as a kick returner. He was a Pro Bowler a couple of times, I think, and but he's probably even a better TV and radio analyst over there on the East Coast. All right, get back to the Super Bowl for a minute. There's some controversy. There's been a lot of talk this week about the future of the NFL, Tommy, from a standpoint of artificial turf versus natural grass. The NFL exposed themselves when they showed that many of these stadiums who want to host the World Cup in a couple of years were willing to to change out the grass from turf to grass because World Cup soccer is only played on grass. They don't play men's World Cup soccer on turf. And when that happened, the players union is like, wait a minute, if y'all are willing to do this for World Cup soccer, why wouldn't you do this for the NFL, where we play a number of games and it's the stats, the data shows there's less injuries on grass than there are on turf. And so now that's the debate going on. I would expect that whenever the next agreement is up, when that collective bargaining agreement happens, if not sooner, that you're going to see natural grass fields or some sort of system, much like Arizona, for example. They have the ability to pull the grass out, put it outside, let it grow, and then they slide it in on pallets. I don't know how in the hell the New Orleans Saints would do something like that in a dome situation. Maybe if you're a dome, a true dome, and you're not an open air stadium, maybe you get a one-off, sign-off kind of situation. But they are pushing hard. That's been a topic this week, big time. And it came up, Tommy, because the Kansas City Chiefs, they put them practicing at a turf, at UNLV's turf field, but they threw some grass on top. And NFL was saying the footing was fine. The Chiefs are saying the footing's too soft. I mean, there's the whole debate.
Well, they roll the field in Vegas too. I mean, for the Super Bowl, that field's going to come from outside. The first thing comes up is the bad weather areas. Can they survive with natural grass? Well, Green Bay, like the greens at the Masters, has this major underground system, that keeps the grass in the field in good enough playing condition. And that becomes a big discussion there. So I think that, turf really came to be to eliminate weather messing up fields. If you go back into the early 70s, when some of the stadiums in Philly and Cincinnati and St. Louis, the old Busch Stadium, they all put turf down because they thought it was a good idea at the time. It probably was then, but it's not anymore. I think the NFL, they can afford it. Money is not the issue or the question. It's, what do you do in Buffalo? What do you do? Minnesota's got a dome. What do you do in Green Bay? These places without the dome to prepare for the weather, that might affect the surface. Again, nowadays, football grass surfaces, the technology and the expertise and all that behind it is so much better than it was many, many years ago. But the players, that's going to be a big to-do for the NFL because the players are going to want grass, and the NFL, in some cases, is going to say no.
Well, it was not an issue until, obviously grass is preferred, but it was not an issue. And the players didn't really have a leg to stand on until the NFL said, we value soccer over NFL. and said, well, we can do it for soccer. They're like, well, then if you can do it for soccer, why can't you do it for us? They
made it mess themselves up, the NFL, with that statement there.
They made a good point, no doubt about it. The bowl. It was, who was it? Was it Brock Purdy? Somebody I saw wife got a suite for like $1.5 to $2 million. The Super Bowl suites.
McCaffrey's girlfriend.
It was McCaffrey's girlfriend.
And he said no, that's not happening.
So we know that Todd Graves, be looking for him. Todd Graves, a founder of Raising Cane's, who lives in Baton Rouge. He's got 2, maybe 3 suites. I know he's got 2 for sure. I think he was maybe looking at getting a third because he had so many celebrities coming. He's going to have 2. He's going to have 2 for sure, maybe 3 suites at the Super Bowl, and he's going to have. I know Leonardo DiCaprio is sitting in one of the Raising Cane's suites. He told me that. That's pretty cool.
Are you in one of those suites?
No. I didn't make the cut for that, Coach. I just got told about who's in the suites. I don't.
You got the list. They handed you the list.
If I wanted to volunteer to pick them up at the airport and drive them to the stadium, I would be allowed to do that, but not.
Okay.
No ticket is in my hand. I'll be in Arizona, which I am in Arizona for the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Have you ever been, TK?
I've been to Phoenix, but not to that tournament. No.
So this tournament has just grown and grown and grown and grown over the years. They call it the People's Open, which is very accurate. There's more people that come to this tournament than the Zurich over about a 4 or 5 year period. Like literally, they have more people in one day than the Zurich will have in 4 at their tournament. They have grandstands and VIPs and all over the course. It's incredible. Unfortunately, Wednesday, which was the Pro-Am, which Nick Saban played in, I actually was by the ropes. Nick Saban walked by. I was videoing, and I said, "Go Tigers, Coach." He was probably 20 feet from me, and I said, "Go Tigers!" And he took a couple steps and he gave me a thumbs up without looking my way. He just kind of turned and gave me a thumbs up. He hit a decent ball off the tee on 18. I was standing right there, recorded it. He signed a ton of autographs. Nick Saban was the star of the Pro-Am. And they had Michael Phelps there. They had baseball players. They had actors. Nick Saban was the star of the Pro-Am on Wednesday. People get the biggest cheers. People wanted to, followed him the most. I mean, it was pretty incredible. He seemed to be having a good time, although the Pro-Am got shut down after probably – I don't know, 7 holes, 8 holes or something. They had weather issues. And then on Thursday, same kind of thing, got about 3 hours in or so of the tournament. And then weather came, delay for 3-4 hours. It was 44 degrees, Tommy, with rain yesterday. I mean, I don't know where I am. It's like record lows, record rain, and of course I'm sitting there in the middle of it. It's just incredible.
Anyway, just as long as that happens there, not on Rougarou games this summer.
Yes.
Okay. So
yes.
You're trading off. You're taking the bad weather. You were hoping for some wonderful weather in Phoenix, but it's a trade. You see, that means we'll have no rainouts for the Rougarou this summer in the end of May and of course June and July. So
yeah,
I would trade off. You'll go with that?
Yes, I would rather suffer now for no rain this summer. That is a fact.
By the way, Saban going to take Corso's place on game day. And
okay, so that was my question. I saw that and it's funny, yesterday when they announced it on Wednesday, I was literally, there was a celebrity $1 million hole-in-one on 16. All the Pro-Ams participants got a chance to hit one ball on 16. And if they would have made it, they'd have won $1 million. Of course, no one did. But in the middle of the Pro-Am, I think Nick had just hit, or I was about to hit. That's when the announcement came out nationally that Nick Saban was going to be on the game day crew, which kind of surprised me that he's committed to doing that every week. I mean, that's a big commitment, right? I mean, you're traveling and all that kind of stuff. But my question at the time, they didn't say it in the press release, but you're telling me you've heard differently, is that Corso's out, Saban's in.
It's being reported that Corso is out and he'll make like some cameo appearances, like they may tape something and drop it in, maybe the headgear thing, I don't know. And they're going to get rid of McAfee. I mean, he was a total disaster for that show, and and that's the reports. Now, none of that's been said by ESPN, but I would think, what perfect way to transition Saban, get rid of Corso. Saban's not going to put on headgear. He's not going to do all of that, but to have his input, into the game that they're at and the other big games of that day. I mean, there's no telling what ESPN paid him, possibly more than he made at Bama. That's very possible. So let's hope that happens. For number one, I want to get rid of McAfee. Corso, he shouldn't be up there. He's too old to be up there. Just like Biden's too old to be the president. I mean, it's just, come on, get somebody else in there. And let Saban do it for a couple of years. What name is more recognizable in college football? None more than Nick Saban.
So Corso, we've been saying for a couple of years that he should probably just be taping the headgear segments from his home or someplace else. They can go on, Wednesday and do a funny skit and he puts on the head or whatever. And it would be a lot better if they did it that way, because they could edit it. They could write stuff that would make content funny and make that package be the finale. But so you really believe McAfee's going to be gone?
That's all the reports. Now, again, ESPN didn't say that, but they were trying to bring a different audience in with him. I don't know if the word's controversial, but he's like a lightning rod. it may be putting eyeballs on it. But
You
I
either
think
love
the
them or
game
hate
day,
them.
the game day thing wants to be more serious than he is, I think, unless they're just going to shift gears. ESPN suffering, laying people off, not making the money they once made. So I'm sure it'll become a money decision. But a lot of the people, the national writers who I read on a regular basis, are reporting that he will not be back. And again, that's not been said by ESPN, though.
Yeah, McAfee himself made it seem as if he was almost choosing that he didn't want to be back. I know he's
Well,
got
that's the way he'll position it.
Yeah,
he'll position it that way.
Yeah.
You don't want to look like he was a one and done. Like Eli Manning and Drew Brees tried to be announcers. It didn't work. Emmitt Smith didn't work, so they got rid of him. But in McAfee, not that he was as bad as they were calling games, but he was not what people expected when they went to game day. They wanted Desmond Howard and Kirk Herbstreit and Reese Davis, and the celebrity guest of whatever town they were in, and do a pick. They didn't want the foolishness and the lack of credibility that McAfee brings.
I'm surprised. Like I said, I'm glad for Nick, especially if Nick is replacing Corso. That makes a lot of sense, right? You get rid of one coach, you come in with another coach, and it's an easy explanation of Corso on that. And you bring tremendous credibility to your deal. By the way, Alabama at LSU this year. I got to believe game day is going to be there, and that'll be cool to see Nick on the set on the parade grounds or wherever they do it in Tiger State.
You're going to have to get Rue out there that day.
We will. We definitely will. Speaking of Rue, he made an appearance he's going to be making an appearance at Spanish Town on Saturday. So look for Rue downtown, our mascot for the Rougarou. But I got a chance, Tommy, here at the Phoenix Open to see to go play Troon North, the Pinnacle course. Only got 9 holes in. Again, played through some rain, played through cold. Then at the turn, it was just getting too bad, so we shut it down. I had to get a rain check. The difference between playing the desert courses and the courses, of course, in Baton Rouge or South Louisiana, when you're not on the fairway, you're out. Like, there's a little rough. Maybe you can hit out of some rough, or maybe even some woods or different things like that. You ain't hitting out of bushes and cactus, So you're either on the grass and you can hit. If it's not on the grass, Tommy, you ain't hitting, especially at that course, because it's really grown in. It's not like deserty where there's, dirt and space. There is no space. It was tight. Wasn't a good course for Ron Rance, who shot a 49 on the front 9.
It's been a few years. I've actually played a course out there called Superstition Springs. I don't even know if it's still open, but that was like, when I played it, it was like one of the top 2, 3, 4 in that greater area. And then we also went up to Glendale because a buddy of mine was a member at a club, and we played up there. I don't even remember the name of it, but it was extremely nice. But like you said, if you get more than a couple of steps out of the fairway, you're not going to, you just don't know how to play that kind of golf,
I'm going to go try to find Sam Burns today and kind of watch him on a couple holes, and then I'll be on 16, the most famous hole in golf.
So you went to 16. So here's my question. I've seen it on TV dozens of times. Is it, like the Masters is more impressive if you go to Augusta. As impressive as it is on TV, it's more in person. Give me that analogy for the 16th in Phoenix.
The 16th would be like if they put a golf hole in the middle of the Smoothie King Arena and you played the hole. I mean, that's what it is. It's like
in the middle of Tiger Stadium.
Tiger Stadium probably too big, too grand. But if you put Alec Box, if you put a golf hole inside Alec Box, there's more people at the 16th than at Alec Box, so that's probably not a good analogy. But I wonder, and we had this conversation, my brother and I, why wouldn't they build some of these structures? Are temporary structures. They put them up and they take them down. These are some serious structures. This isn't bleachers. The fact, think of everything they bring in. They literally had like bathrooms on scaffolding, 3 stories up and stuff like that. Why don't they just build permanent structures? Because there's 2 courses out here at TPC, and one of them's called the Stadium Course where they play. So just build the stadium course, build a course that has, some of the holes, permanent stadiums. And that way you could do electricity and bathrooms and elevators and all the stuff, and make it completely awesome, because the amount of money that they spend year in and year out bringing in these temporary structures and tearing them down. And so for 10 months out of the year, there's no stadium. And then for 2 months out of the year, there's all this stuff, is just astronomical. Like if you were to see, Tommy, all of the structures, we're not just talking about 3 holes. We're talking about tons and tons of tents and VIP setups and all this stuff. It just seems to me like over the long run, over a 10-year period, it would make financial sense to have some permanent structures out here, particularly on 16, 17, and 18, and would be much cheaper. But I don't know. I'd love to know the numbers.
What else would be attractive to that? Okay, many years ago, Ronnie, I played at the TPC of Louisiana about 3 weeks before the PGA Tour event. Now, they made us play on the way up tees because they didn't want to damage the back tees, but all the bleachers and stuff were up. And, for an amateur golfer, even though there was no one in the bleachers, it was a cool thing to say, hey, I'm playing these holes, and that's going to be filled in 2 weeks for the tournament. And it was just a different look and a different feel, and it kind of amped you up a little bit, even though there was nobody in the bleachers. So I would think if they built that permanent, that'd be more of an attraction for the public to come out there and play it, even though it'd be empty. To me, I'd never forget that, playing at the TPC of Louisiana. Like, man, that's pretty cool, all these bleachers. They were pretty much all of them were up the day I played it.
Well, think about it, Tommy. You could walk into 16, which is like an arena. Like I said, 16th, the most famous hole in golf at this point, is 16 at TPC. If you had like the PA playing music, because they had like music playing during the pro-ams and all that kind of stuff. Let's just say they had the speakers on and just had music playing, and it gave you that feel, so that when you walked in the 16, it was like, okay, this is what it's like, with all the people, or even had like piped in some noise or something. That would be so cool. I mean, you could probably charge an extra $50 a person on golf fees to play the hole,
And then in the off season, they could have concerts in there,
Right.
Sell the seats and put a stage up, but where the tee box is, you can fix the tee box in a week.
Yeah.
Don't want to mess up the green, and put a stage in there and have some concerts, or have corporate companies have their annual meetings there, and everybody take a shot at making the hole in one. And if you had suites and meeting rooms, I mean, you're right. I think you're on the right track there, but I don't know if they're going to listen to you, Ron.
Yeah, clearly I'm in the wrong. I'm sure there's people smarter than me that have looked at the numbers and decided whether it makes sense or not. But you're right. I think all of the things you said. All right, TK, one last thing before we go. Talk to us about the Super Bowl. The line is still 49ers by 1.5, correct?
I've seen it at 2 in a few spots this morning, including USA Today.
Okay.
I got some picks for you. I'll throw them out there in my podcast, Talking Sports with TK. That'll all be dropped later today and tomorrow. But I like the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. I'm going money line, and I'm going to take the 2 points. And here's a bet for you. I like the team total on the Chiefs over 23.5. I really like over 23.5 team total Chiefs. And then I got a prop bet for you, Ron. 2 prop bets. Can I give you 2? Pacheco is plus 550 to score the first touchdown in the game. Plus 550. That might be some value there, because he the way he runs, they get close, he's going to get a chance. And then my favorite prop bet, I'm going to go big on this one, that the over and under on the biggest lead in the game is 14.5. I don't think anybody will get a 15-point lead at any point in this game. So I'm going under 14.5 for the largest lead in the game.
What was the value on that prop bet?
That's just a minus 110.
Yeah, I'm about to say
there's not a lot on that one. Pacheco's higher, and there's some other things.
I like that one. I like the under on that. And the Pacheco thing. I mean, let's face it, it's probably going to be him or Kelsey, most likely. So, that's not a bad, terrible value there. But did you see Pacheco at the press conference? He wore the wrestling mask. He came out with the old school wrestling mask on. That was pretty funny. All right, TK.
Everybody's trying to be different. Yeah, now Tremonti's got everything you need for your Super Bowl party for Spanish Town tomorrow. Stop in here today. The shelves are packed with wine, bourbon, tequila, vodka, whatever you want. And of course, all the meat. If you're going to do some cooking, the meat, the seafood, it's all at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood that can get you ready for the Spanish Town Parade. There'll be lots of parties after, and then of course the Super Bowl kicking off 5:30 on Sunday. And don't forget tomorrow morning, Sports Shorts Radio. Hunter McCann and I'll be at the Sports Book in LaBerge, the best place to watch the Super Bowl. And Ronnie will join us, and that we'll have some other stuff for you on 104.5 ESPN tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 12 noon from the Sports Book at LaBerge Casino and Hotel Baton Rouge. So we want you to check us out for that.
Joel Davis and Patrick Mahomes will join you tomorrow too, and we're going to get to talk to Patrick for just a few minutes.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, it's been a
10:45.
Since Patrick joined us. It's been a little while. All right, good. We can coordinate all that with Hunter and I tonight or tomorrow morning, and we'll have you on first segment, and Hunter and I will roll it from the Sportsbook at LaBerge.
All right, folks. Everybody like and share this video. Special thanks to LaBerge Casino, the place to watch the Super Bowl. Don't forget. And we will see you then, and have a great one.